What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us. It definitely has been a minute since my last upload, and basically the reason for that is I've just been practicing, trying to get better at lots of drawing, lots of painting, also lots of color mixing, trying to just, investigate my skills or lack of skills, just trying to get better at everything. And sometimes, the video process has to be put on the back burner in order for me to concentrate on what's important, which is the drawing and the painting. So in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the painting that I just finished recently. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Andrew Marlowe Artist to see the painting. And I actually filmed an entire painting, sort of, like a tutorial, not a tutorial, but like a speed painting video on this actual portrait. But the lighting was all off. There was too much glare on the painting. You couldn't really see what was going on. So I'm trying to figure out whether I need to start filming my painting videos in a different room. It's probably just a lighting issue. It might be, the angle that I have my painting. As you can see now, there's actually a lot of glare on it because, maybe this side is too light. Maybe there's too much, glare coming from right here, for example. Let's try turning this light off. Doesn't really cure that problem very much, but I just wanted to sort of talk about the painting. So I'm going to take it off the easel, and we're going to talk a little bit about the process, a little bit about what I achieved in this painting, a little bit about how I reached some goals, how I made some breakthroughs in this sort of a spontaneous oil painting portrait. So let's get into it. So this painting is still wet, so I'm going to just carefully kind of take it off the easel here. It's actually not too bad. I used Liquid Original as the medium with a little bit of just odorless paint thinner that I use. So it's definitely picking up a lot of light and a lot of glare, as you can see. Actually not too much. I don't have any spotlights on, so it could just be that my camera is a little bit overexposed. So I'm going to have to maybe see if I can dim that a little bit, maybe for future videos. But I just wanted to talk about the painting process of this and what I achieved, what I didn't achieve. But I think as far as if you guys notice, first and foremost, the background is a different approach than I normally would take. It's a lot more textured. It's a lot more abstract. And I think that lends a more like interesting portrait, a more professional looking portrait. There's the contrast between the dark green and the light green, sort of it almost looks like she's in like a smoky atmosphere, or maybe she's in some sort of, stage production or something interesting like that. I'm trying to figure out the most comfortable way to present this video here. You guys probably can't understand me with this painting in front of my face, but it should be okay. So also the expression, I definitely achieved a really, powerful sort of spontaneous expression. I liked the way the earring sort of stands out in the painting. I like the shape of the ear. I think the nose is a little bit messed up. But if you can see the eyes there, definitely have an interesting quality. I like the balance of the green shades in the eyes. I like the expression of the lips. And it just looks a lot different than, we'll put it back on the easel here for a couple seconds, but I just wanted to show you guys some of the close-ups, sort of the spontaneous brush strokes of the hair, but it is looking a bit washed out to me. It doesn't look that way when I look at it, but when I look at it in the camera here, it looks overexposed and like washed out. So I'm going to have to figure out maybe some exposure. You can see how it's not. Maybe it's just my imagination when we're recording this. But anyway, what did I achieve on this painting that I haven't achieved in other portraits? I definitely think I achieved a more impressionistic sort of approach. I think I, sort of improved on the expression of the eyes, the expression of the emotion in her face that I've maybe failed to do on other portraits. I definitely loosened up. I didn't worry too much about detail. I didn't start with a lot of detail. I just worked with just sort of colors and values and just sort of painting ugly, as the guy from Draw Mix Paint likes to talk about, where you don't focus on details, you just focus on sort of setting the stage for making the painting look powerful and profound from a distance. He was talking about a lot of the old master paintings. They're not it depends on which old master you're talking about. But if you're talking about some of the 18th, late 17th, 18th century masters like Rembrandt or Peter Paul Rubens or John Singer Sargent or somebody like Sorolla or somebody like Anders Zorn, they weren't sitting there necessarily painting every single detail like they had in previous centuries, like somebody like Leonardo da Vinci, but they were painting details in the sense where it was something that would look convincing, just sort of messy, suggestive, sort of emotional brushstrokes that sort of lend themselves from looking at the painting from a distance. But as you get closer to the painting up front, it just looks more like a jumbled collection of brushstrokes. But I think that's what makes for interesting paintings. But on the other hand, I do enjoy painting a lot of details like I've done in other paintings. But I think this one in particular, something just sort of fell together with the brush strokes, and obviously some of the colors are off, some of the values are off, and so on and so forth. But I definitely think that idea of painting loose definitely was a strong result in this painting. As you can see in the hair, it's just kind of a jumbled collection of brush strokes. Even in the eyebrows, there is some detail in this portrait, but overall it's just sort of like an alla prima emotional portrait like we were talking about in some of the previous videos. Now the camera's not really doing it justice. It looks really good when I'm looking at it like this, but when I face it towards the camera, it's overexposed. So hopefully it's not going to look like that on camera when I upload it. But sorry, my easel is coming a little bit disjointed here in the process, but I just think it's a strong, emotional, expressive, impressionistic portrait. I can't talk today for some reason. Haven't had my second cup of coffee. This is, I think, as far as my style or my creative endeavors, I think it's a good little snapshot of where we are at the moment. And I think hopefully this painting will encourage you to sort of loosen up in your brush strokes, sort of encourage you to loosen up with your technique, encourage you not to maybe focus so much on the details. And I think as an artist, it's always a battle between focusing too much on the details and focusing, or not focusing enough on the details. You don't want to, unless you're like some modern artist that's just kind of splattering paint on a canvas, you don't want to totally leave details out the door, because then your painting is not going to really look like anything. But you don't want to focus too much on details, because details detract from the emotion, they detract from the overall vibe of the painting. It all depends on what it is you're doing too. If you're trying to do like a really old master style, like Leonardo da Vinci or somebody like Hans Holbein, then yeah, there's a time and a place for detail. But if you want to do something more impressionistic like Renoir or Anders Zorn or Sorolla, somebody like that, then you're going to want to do less detail. And it's not to say that you're not really using detail, but you're not using detail as a crutch, as some of the old masters previously, in the 14th, 15th, 16th century, I definitely think went overboard with the detail, and it's just almost too overwhelming with the detail. I mean, it's cool to look at. It's really, really admirable that they were able to do that, but I think it's much more, I think, pleasurable to the modern eye to sort of paint more ugly, as Mark Carter would say from Draw Mix Paint, or just paint more creatively, paint more loosely. So as far as this painting, what else is interesting about it? I just think it's sort of photographic. I think it stands out. I think that sort of loose, if you guys look at a lot of my other paintings, you'll see that I usually would just paint a solid background color with real slick, sort of straight brush strokes. Just nothing particularly interesting about it, but there's something interesting in this background because it looks kind of smoky. I basically took my brush and I made little X's like this, just kind of all over the canvas, up and down. I didn't really try to overblend the canvas, so I think it's a good attempt at sort of making an impressionistic style snapshot. It definitely has a long way to go in terms of my technique and stuff. But yeah, I guess we'll just wrap this video up there. Let me know what you guys think of the painting. Let me know what you guys think about the process, the creative process of painting more strictly versus attempting to paint more loosely, more creatively. Make sure you guys check out my social media, Instagram.com/Andrew Marlowe Artist. I also have a Facebook page, Andrew Marlowe Kermitas Art on Facebook, or you can just hit me up on my regular Facebook if you so choose. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video.